Hey there, Alan Matthews here. In this video, we're going to be looking at tablature and the pros and cons of guitar tab. If you're watching this on classicalguitarshed.com, way to go. If not, head on over to classicalguitarshed.com at your leisure. You will find tons of free and paid guitar resources, all kinds of articles on playing beautifully, phrasing, classical guitar technique, all things classical guitar. So let's move on to the pros and cons of tab. So as a quick primer on what tab is, then we have normal musical notation here, and then we have, which have notes, and note heads and stems and all this kind of stuff. And then we have tab down here. And what tab is, there's 6 lines which represent the strings, the highest being the highest sounding, the lowest being the lowest sounding. Now, then we have these numbers, and the numbers represent the frets or the open strings, not the fingers, but the frets and open strings. So this is how tab is, so you can see it here. Tab is great for many reasons. First off, it shows you what you need to know to where to put your left hand. So on this, I can look at this and say my 3 is here, and my 1 and my 2, and so I know where to put my fingers. Up here, if I was reading, if I didn't read music very well, or not at all, then I wouldn't know that, and I'd just be in the dark. And so there's a much lower bar to entry with tab. It'll just tell you what you need to know to get sound coming out of and play the right notes without any prior musical knowledge or anything else. Or if you're not very good at reading the higher positions, then you could figure out a song that was beyond your reading ability. Even if you did read notes down here, but you weren't that good at reading them up here yet, higher on the staff, then tab is great for being able to do that. It's also great if your reading abilities are mediocre, but your physical abilities are much better than your reading abilities. Then you could actually learn songs that you otherwise wouldn't be able to play, that your fingers can play, but you can't read them on the page that well. Does that make sense? Also, you can find tab all over the internet. So if you want to learn the intro to the new pop song you heard on the radio or whatever, you can find tab like that. There's a plethora of it online, so it's very available. And so that's the other thing that is good about tab. All that said, there are also some things that are really not good about tab. The first is that if you're going to be playing classical guitar, especially, we have different note values doing different things. So there are different parts of the music. This one, there are loud notes and soft notes. There are different parts of the music. And that is not, we don't see that in the tab. But up here we do. We have a dotted quarter note, and then and a bass note is a quarter note, which means that this one holds the whole time, and all these little notes in here are the interior voice, which means that they are going to be played softly and in the background. You don't get that with tab. And so there's all this musical information that you do not get, especially, and one of the main ones is the rhythm. This particular example is just kind of a straight 16th note pattern all the way through. But if there was a tricky rhythm to this, it wouldn't show in the tab. Sometimes you will have tab that has rhythms written into it kind of above like this, something like that. But even that isn't as good as just seeing how everything fits together. You also miss a lot of musical notations like accents, if there was an accent right here, or dynamics, something gets softer or quieter, things like that. You don't get a lot of that in tab. And so you can really miss a lot of the musical boat whenever you're using tab. So that's the main thing. There's a lot of brain activity that goes on when you're reading music, and whenever you are a music reader over the span of your life, your brain develops in a completely different ways, and all these different parts of the brain have to connect because reading music is such a complex mental exercise with the knowing the theory and the connecting the notes to your fingers and all these things. Musicians' MRIs, their brain scans react differently. You can look at them and tell that they're different than regular people. And so you don't build that with tab. And so if you're into a lifetime of music, learning to read music would be a great investment in time, even though it is weird at first and difficult at first to do it a little bit along for a long time. You get better at it over time and have a much richer musical experience. Quickly review, tab is great for what it is. It tells you the bare bones information of where to put your fingers. What it doesn't show you is rhythms, dynamics, musical things to actually make something beautiful. I doubt you'll actually make it really beautiful playing just from tab. But there is a lot of tab on the internet, and it's readily available, and there's a very low bar to entry. On the other hand, it's really good for your brain to read music. So those are the pros and cons of tab. If you have more than those, other pros, other cons, please leave a comment. See you soon. Hey, would you like to play more cleanly with more speed and precision, with more beautiful phrasing, and know that you're actually coming forward and progressing in a logical way on your guitar? Well, if so, you might want to check out the Woodshed. The Woodshed is a full practice solution. You'll find a massive library of play-along practice videos. You get a clear step-by-step progression. There's a massive practice library there with videos that you actually play along with. So practice along videos, training your different areas of your technique so that you know that that's solid. You get all the courses on Classical Guitar Shed, free webcam check-ins and video reviews so that you always know that you're on track with personalized one-on-one feedback. And most of all, you get the peace of mind knowing that you are on a specific track that leads from here to there. If this sounds interesting to you, then you can find more information following the link in the description, or you can go to classicalguitarshed.com, click on the membership button right in the center of the menu, and you'll learn all about it. Take care.